Hello and welcome back to Broadcast.gg's coverage of the Open Division European side, the Season 3. And right now we are setting up our game between Persia Esports and Swedish Domination. As always, I'm joined by some analysts, and I have Lofty here and Plausible. Lofty, so we have seen over here the regions will pull meta kind of from their contenders games. And what do you think? How successful are these open division teams at pulling from like similar metas they've seen from contenders?
Well, it's a very, very good question because one of the things that we like to look for in open division teams, well, at least what I like to look for in open division teams, is how much inspiration, like you said, they've drawn from their contenders' counterparts. We've had contenders for all regions run through, and so now this is the open division team's time to shine and to see how well they can match up with their contenders' counterparts. And one of the ways they can do that is through their knowledge of composition changes. Now, the European region notoriously has been known for running just heavy tank compositions, GOATS compositions most of the time. We see, and if I've crunched the numbers right, in the playoffs alone in the European region for Season 3, contenders have shown a 35% pick rate for the GOATS composition out of all the compositions picked up. One thing to note as well, an interesting variation of the GOATS composition on the European scene that you don't see a lot in North America and Korea is that they actually decide to run the Zenyatta over the Sombra. And through that, you can tell that they prioritize taking down the opposing enemy Reinhardt. They want to make sure that as soon as the shield is dropped, they grab a Discord on them right away. They don't worry about sustain. They take the fight. They take the enemy Reinhardt. They take the fight. And so that's something that I want to see a trend of, or even a break of trend. See if the European Open Division teams have figured out maybe something else to vary it up.
Plausible, do you have anything to add to that?
I think when it comes to GOATS very specifically, one of the reasons we see it as such a prominent composition in so many of these regions is because it's very straightforward compared to a lot of the others, right? The coordination aspect of it is still very necessary, but it's simplified. It's everybody stick together. We're going to be within 5 feet of each other. And so when the targets do get called out, it's not as difficult for players to focus on said targets, and it's not as difficult to get healing down. I think what I'm looking for specifically is how teams handle the enemy team going GOATS. Do you just run your own GOATS into it and hope it's better, or do you come out with a niche counter pick that you know is gonna work? Like we've seen Doomfist, we've seen Sombras, we've seen Pharahs, Junkrats, things of that nature, and both countering and being able to deal with counters to GOATS is one of the main things that is going to propel teams forward in this open division meta, especially considering the map pool we have.
Yeah, with Dom. No, please go for it.
Sorry, I was just an interesting note as well. How you say, or now that you mentioned the Sombra, is that in the North American region, in the contenders playoffs specifically, there's been the emergence of at least what I like to call, and I think a lot of people like to call it, the Cyber Goats composition, where it's a substitution of one of the tanks for a Sombra. And again, with the reemergence of Sombra as a very powerful pick nowadays, I want to see if the Europeans can sort of bring that to the table as well. In the contenders playoffs for Europe, we did not see any Cyber Goats composition actually. So I want to see if the open division teams think differently about their contenders counterparts about it and maybe run it themselves.
Yeah, the Cyber Goats, I really like that term.
I know. I didn't make it. But somebody did. Somebody surely did.
I want someone to illustrate that.
The Cyber a Cyber Goats composition, or even a Cyber Goats logo. I like it. Yeah,
that'd be a good team name.
The Cyber Goats. The Cyber Goats.
All right, my open division team for Season 4, Cyber Goats. Or Sabriel and the Analysts.
Sabriel and the Analysts? Oh, yeah, dude.
What I've seen a lot of teams struggle is a lot of games will make or break the if you can defend against GOATs, and a lot of teams just fail at that. But let's talk about today's game. We do have Swedish Domination. What can you tell us about them, Plausible?
Well, this is a team, calling them an underdog would be an understatement, right? Looking strictly at the average SR, it's over 1,000 underneath the counterpart of Persia Esports. It's going to be a real David and Goliath story coming out here. And honestly, I think if you're on Swedish Domination, you're in this open division to learn to better yourself as a player. Hopefully they can do that mid-match. They can make some nice adaptations and give us a match worth its salt, right? They're at a 1-2 or a 1-win 2-loss record. So if they do lose today, they're probably out of the running for that playoff run. But it doesn't mean that they can't learn and can't get better for next season.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Lofty, Persia Esports, what is going on this team?
Well, if we were talking about that David and Goliath story, this is also under the assumption that David is fighting Goliath with a piece of wood, or chopsticks rather, because this is a championship team, and by that I mean no small feat. These are the reigning champions of the Iranian Cup, and they also have a fairly stacked team. One of their players is the first player to reach top 500 in Iran. That would go to Abbas, and they are a seasoned team. They've been together for just a month so far, but we are seeing a lot of I've got a lot of expectations for this team. I expect to see them come out strong, and we'll see what Swedish Domination can do to weather the storm.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think our teams are getting ready. We are heading over to Lijiang Tower, and we're going to hand it over to our casters. We have Cloudburst and Beatdown. Cloudburst, take it away.
I apologize about that. Thank you so much for handing it over to us, Sabriel. Coming over to Lijiang Tower, Beatdown Boulevard, how do you feel teams fare over on this map, and what do you think they should be bringing to the table?
I think generally people like to run the Pharah here, as they do on most control maps, especially on here, but this map is no stranger to the Widowmaker as well. And looks like running into some kind of, oh no, map is just being restarted. But yeah, like I was saying, there are a variety of different strategies here. People can run the Pharah, people like to run sniper characters. Even the Goats comp, the triple tank, triple support works out quite well here. It really just depends on what your enemy team is working on and what your team is comfortable running.
Yeah, I would agree there completely. And looking over at what our analyst said here, it's quite a bit of a David and Goliath match here. Do you think we're going to see quite a lot of potential counter picks coming in from Swedish Domination to try and deal with Persia Esports with the difference in skill level that we see just from the SR average?
It's definitely possible. They can definitely... There's a good chance that they could surprise us, especially with the use, if they do opt to use the Goats comp, because, it is a comp that, yeah, mechanical skill is quite important, but it is more about the team coordination and how well you guys actually work together and make use of your abilities. So that is definitely a way they could help this deficit.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I also find that running in with Goats makes it very difficult for your opposition to kind of deal with it. And right out of the bat here, looking at the team compositions, there's the sniper you spoke about, and they're going with quite an interesting dive composition for Persia. What can you tell me about Swedish Domination?
Well, like I thought, they're gonna run the triple tank, triple support competition. This actually might work out pretty well for them. They just need to get aggressive and really get in there, and it looks like they've already started to do so.
Yeah, Swedish Domination is looking very good here, getting very early picks out from their front line, and that allows for a reset, and they're probably going to be able to capture the point here as well.
Yeah, definitely a strong showing. They didn't really have anything that could deal with it. The sniper characters can't get through the tanks, and it's actually forcing a swap here from Persia Esports Unknown onto the Pharah, and Braven's going to be onto the Hanzo. Much better, because Swedish Domination doesn't have anyone to deal with the Pharah. They just have the Diva. So it's going to be on him to really put the pressure, otherwise they're going to have a really rough time holding him.
Yeah, you can see right away Zikibo does dive onto the Pharah, but not enough. Bunny is right in there. Extra tries to get a charge, but doesn't quite land anything. There aren't any picks left. But Bunny off the match from Ninos. That is a big pick and fantastic coming in from him. Brigida in the front line looking for some more, but that's already a rocket barrage from Unknown, allowing for the team to pick up 3 players, make that the mech as well, and the 4th just right after. That was a good showing of play.
Yeah, it definitely was. That's the unfortunate thing about running the Goats comp against the Pharah. Actually, we're about to see a replay on this barrage here. You get the charge so fast because you're so tightly knit when you run this composition, and the Pharah can just get so much ult charge off of it. And it allowed them to win it with just the one fight as well, the one ultimate, sorry. So now they're going into this fight with 3.
Yeah, and here's the rally coming in from Swedish Domination. Self-destruct as well. Doesn't find anyone. Doesn't quite find them, but does split them up quite a bit. David, great. Managing to pick up 2 with his Primal Rage. And we do see on the point there is a bit of a brawl, but at the moment Persia Esports looks like they're coming out ahead of this in absolutely no time.
Yeah, they definitely are. Only use one ult to do so as well. I think Swedish Domination really needs to maybe take a different route here. It's so easy to get knocked off of the bridge there, or if you're going to get through it, you need to go through as quickly as possible. And now Pelopin's actually going to swap onto the McCree. Had enough of Unknown on the far here. Hopefully, he can actually do something. Actually, no, he's going to opt for the Widowmaker.
Now, oh, there's an Earth Shatter. It doesn't quite land anywhere. This bubble over from David Great didn't go down in time. Self-destruct completely nullified as well. Right now, Swedish Domination need to do something to bring this one back. And they do have 2 support ultimates to hopefully let that dream live.
Yeah, something can be done here, but they gotta watch out for the far rocket barrage here. And just Unknown.
Unknown actually gets the pick off of the Widowmaker. And another rocket barrage as well onto Zikipo, as well as Night Raver, and Herder Dog goes down as well. That is really a good showing from Persia.
Yeah, it's really bad if your sniper cannot take care of the Pharah, and now he's actually going to swap, and Pelopin's going to be on the Pharah, probably deciding to go counter instead, but this comp doesn't really make any sense, because now none of the supports are actually able to properly heal Pelopin while he's in the skies.
That's going to be a very big factor going into what they might be able to do here. They might have to cheeky back cap, but you can see a brawl in the air there between the 2 Pharahs. They're trying to keep it together, and we do have the Diva D-Max onto the points, and Braven's just picking up more and more. I think this is the David and Goliath playing out, and over on Leisure, seeing 99% already for the Goliath is looking pretty strong.
Yeah, it definitely is. Really strong showing so far from Persia Esports, but it's a little unfortunate. I think towards the end of this round, Swedish Domination started to panic a little bit, making swaps that entirely make sense. That's like going Pharah to counter another Pharah is just fine, but you need some kind of way to heal her. You know, the Lucio was just very proximity based. You need to be within like a dozen meters of him, and same with the Moira. So you know that isn't going to work.
Yeah, I have a feeling that if you do want to go to the Pharah at this level of play, you need to bring the Mercy into the mix as well. And not having that, definitely a bit of a spell of destruction there for themselves. But moving over to Control Tower, hopefully they can bring things back.
For sure, and this might actually work well for Swedish Domination. They're running the Moira break, but they might be expecting the Pharah, so Night Raven's going to be back on the 3. Pelopin's on the Junkrat could actually work really well as long as he keeps his distance and gets in as much damage as he can into these tanks.
Oh wow, that is an early charge for David Great, taking out their Brigida over on Swedish Domination. That's going to hold them back quite a bit, and the fight's still going on. Defense Matrix doing a lot of work over there, but not quite enough, and Persia Esports just running them off of the point in no time. And you have a bit of a collision there between the 2 Reinhardts, but they do keep it together, and Swedish Domination having to back off.
Yeah, it seems like early on they kind of got a little split up after they lost their break. Now they need to actually. Oh, it looks like Persia had forgotten to capture the point. So you know what? This isn't too much time lost here for Swedish Domination. They should just regroup and just try this push again. Now they have the Riptire. Extra has the rocket. The Earth Shatter. So a lot can be done here.
Yeah, there's a lot of ultimates here. There's a Riptide coming in the back. Does it pick up David? No, but it picks up Unknown, and David Great goes down shortly afterwards as well. Swedish Domination able to bring it back here by picking up those 2 key targets, and this fight's already won for them, it seems. Although we do have a pause.
Oh yeah, looks like somebody's DC. But for now, we can still talk about this. Yeah, it's definitely good that now they definitely have a good chance of capturing this point. Persia Esports forgetting to capture it early on is really helpful as well, because now they only have 20% when they could have had quite a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's quite a large oversight coming in from Persia, but regardless of the oversight, I want to have a look at the ultimate economy right now. That there were a lot of ultimates in the mix used there for them to bring the point back over on Swedish Domination, and now Persia Esports is sitting on not only the Earth Shatter, but a sound barrier from Santa Dream on the Lucio, and Bunny's on 90% towards that self-destruct. Those are some very strong ultimates that can work together and kind of break down Swedish Domination's defense here on the point.
Yeah, I do agree. I think Swedish Domination got a little too over with the ultimate usage. However, I think it's not as bad as it could have been because they forced the Graviton out of Unknown, but it didn't find any value anyway. So getting a really powerful ult out of the way is definitely beneficial to them as long as Extra can block the Earth Shatter from David Great and, you know, deny the value. They have a pretty good shot here.
Yeah, and following that pause back in the game, can it play out the way that you just described to us in ways that they can get back? Or are we going to see Swedish actually holding it the way that they need to?
Yeah, well, now they're getting onto the point, so we're just going to have to see. David Great might be looking for that Shatter.
Oh wow, Shadow just for hers the hog, and he does end up going down to the charge, but Extra picks up David Great on the run back there, and Extra's not looking very healthy on the point with the rest of his team getting taken back there from Unknown. Although High Noon from Night Raven picks up 2, but it's not enough for them to get the point back.
Oh, picked up 2, but not soon enough, unfortunately. It was a good ultimate, but now that that's out of the way, he may want to consider swapping, but no, it looks like he is going to keep it. Unknown actually swapping onto McCree as well. Them ditching that fully Goats comp for a little more damage. I think they want to deal with Night Raven and Pelephant, you know, give them some range contention. But now, this next fight, they really don't have anything.
Wow, there's the self-destruct, and it managed to pick up Night Raven on the corner of that shield, and they end up actually holding them back quite a bit more. And Ultimate's just lighting up over on Swedish Domination side. Out comes the self-destruct, not picking up anyone sadly. Getting the neck back, looking for more. Extra managed to pick up Unknown in the fray there. And it's just an all-out brawl over on the point. Raven going in for the Moira on Ninus, but not quite able to get it there. And the point is still just ticking up for Persia Esports with Bunny contesting it and not allowing Swedish Domination anywhere near it. They're going to have to back off once again, or do we see more coming in here? Riptire, is it going to be able to find anyone? It's looking for something, and it picks up Braven. That's a bit of an opening, but it's not enough.
No, it's definitely not, but just maybe the chance. Now they should be about 2 up with the return of the Moira. Still, it is a little dangerous. Persia Esports has a few ultimates going, actually almost 4 into the next fight.
Oh, David Great with a massive shadow onto 3. Self-destruct in the back there, just keeping them off the point in any way whatsoever. David Great gets knocked down from another shadow though, and they're not allowing them to get anywhere near this. A bit of an interesting contest here coming in from Ninus with the Coalescence, and Bunny just trying to keep it alive. We do see, however, Zakippo comes in. There's... oh my word, is Deadeye not managed to get anywhere because Pelephant is right there to take him out. They're still on the point, trying to contest through this, but 99% for Persia Esports right now. Rally coming out from Raven, going to put a lot of sustaining armor over onto them. Self-destruct actually picking up Bunny in the back there, and looks like Persia's slowly but surely bringing this one back, but we're going to see a trickle come in little bit by bit. Night Raven not picking up anyone. Domino manages to actually take him out mid-ultimate, and Extra's the only one there. Picks up 2 with the Earth Shadow, and this fight is nowhere near over. Raven doesn't actually go down from the charge. And there you have it for Persia.
Wow, what a long fight. You know, it was going, it could have gone either way at some point. You probably would have had such an opinion, but unfortunately, for Swedish Domination, Persia is going to take that fight. I think personally, Swedish Dom took a little too much time on a fight that they should have just abandoned.
Yeah, I agree there. There was a lot of holding it there, and there was still time to bring things back. Either side could have pulled back at a moment and actually come back into the fight, refreshed, all grouped up, but there was a lot of stagger coming in from both sides, a bit of stuttering a little bit and who's running into the fray there, and I think that's something that both sides can take into account.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It is still only the first map. Swedish Domination still has plenty of time to bring this one around.
Yeah, I mean, that being Lijiang, the control map, maybe that's just not really the map for Swedish Domination, and we might see something else over onto our escort next. So once we see them decide which map they're going to go to, I think that's where we can really start talking about what they need to bring to the table.
Yeah, it's possible. It is control maps do tend to be quite difficult because they're the most, I think, demanding of what a team should have, like coordination, ult management, and all those things. Maybe a more forgiving game mode will be what they need to at least put themselves on the board.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they can do here, especially from what I can see. Next map is Watchpoint Gibraltar, and okay, I find that one quite interesting coming back from Lijiang. I would have actually expected to see a Rialto pick.
I'm not so sure. The only reason is that I don't think they're too comfortable running sniper. Actually, it might not even matter. Both comps do favor snipers, but I think on Gibraltar you can kind of get away more with not running it.
Yes,
It doesn't seem like Swedish Dom is very comfortable with that right now.
That would make a lot of sense coming into this one. Gibraltar, a very interesting map with each stage plays almost like a completely different map, and you need to take a lot of different things into account when it comes to verticality and angles.
Yeah, definitely the case. So now we're gonna see who knows, we may see Swedish Dom just bring out a tank heavy composition again.
Yeah, we have to see over onto who decides what. I mean, we saw, looking at Swedish Domination, they did play the front line quite well, but Persia definitely able to kind of shred right through that a lot better. And looking at the defenses, what can you tell me about the team comp coming in to defend Watchpoint Gibraltar here?
Sorry, say that one more time.
I'm just wondering what can be said about the defense composition over here from Persia Esports.
Oh, apologies. Yeah, Persia Esports, pretty good composition here. They're going for the Widow Genji defense, kind of an older comp if we're thinking meta-wise. But you know, now that the support buffs have happened, Mercy Zen is not the most popular combination, but still, this could work out really well because Widow is strong here on this map.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what can happen here with Braven over on the Widowmaker. If he can get the right picks, especially with Santa Dream and the Discord orbs going onto certain targets of Swedish Domination's side, I think that we could see things turn out for them quite well.
Yeah, and this could actually go okay for Swedish Dom if the Pelican can really deliver here on the Doomfist. As long as he can go in with the dive and land that rocket punch, especially such a key ability, they can definitely give a good chance of rolling at this point.
I like seeing that cheeky move from Widow, but completely stopped from Extra with that bubble there. Quite a interesting introduction to the map here.
Well, yeah, it's not the worst to use a bubble at such a time.
And right away, a dive goes onto the top there, but Unknown's the one that gets the Kippo out of the mech, and they're just trying to split them up, but you can see Persia Esports doesn't want any of that, and they keep their composure very nicely.
Yeah, they do. The rest comes out, but it doesn't look like it really matters. He just wants to get back into spawn, but actually, no. It looks like Disco's actually gonna get demeched and staggered.
Yeah, that's... I'm sure that doesn't feel too good for Swedish Domination over there. I mean, looking at the ultimate economy over onto Persia Esports, from what we can see, they're looking very good for this next fight.
Yeah, they are. And now, wow, already falls from Raven. They know where they are now, and yeah, they may want to consider a different composition here on Swedish Domination, or they need to keep themselves from getting split up when they're going for the dive.
Yeah, and you can see Braven trying to find the shots, not quite able to get it. Pelifant does get him for that. Too much patience is not a virtue in this situation, and Pelifant is looking for more, even though he's Discord Orb, but Buddy takes him down in no time, and the dive is continuing. Here's the self-destruct coming in from Bunny, picks up Ninas, and that's probably going to hold them back quite a bit for their defense.
Yeah, you know, that started off so great with the kill onto the Widowmaker, but I think the tanks were too slow to rotate and make that jump to assist with diving the backline. They need to, Swedish Dom needs to go in together. They need to get a pick, and then they all need to press on it at the same time on the same target. But now it's unfortunate because Persia has a lot of ults next to the fight.
Yeah, I have a feeling that having Night Raven coming off the blade soon, that's going to be a very big turning point, or a very big factor to the next fight here. And there's just a massive brawl going on over here with the Primal Rage being popped. And there's the Dragon Blade from Unknown though, picking up one on Elephant. Can he get some more out of this? He's looking for it, but he doesn't quite find it. That might just be enough to hold him back.
Yeah, I mean, even the one kill is good enough, and it's definitely, there's no way that they could get the resurrection off too because of where he died. But still, getting that many ults is actually really good for Swedish Dom. A minute 30 left, and they have 5 ultimates.
Yeah, Braven taking out Night Raven there, though, holding back the Dragon Blade for this push. That's not looking pretty for Swedish Domination right now.
No, definitely not. But still, they do have the ultimates. They just gotta go into the next fight. But their Mercy got picked now.
Ooh, Mercy pick, and then Buddy coming in self-destruct, not finding anything though. David Drake just trying to take out Extra here. He is Discorded, he should be going down no time. And this is a very, very tough one for Swedish Domination to break through.
Yeah, very much so. I think I think Swedish Dom's just a little too slow to react to the dives from Persia. They always jump into their back line, and before they react, they've lost us.
Yeah, I think that's a very big factor to it, but this is one of their last pushes that they have. This is the make or break, popping up Primal Rage extremely early, Self-Destruct coming out as well, not finding anyone, Santa Dream coming out with the Transcendence, hoping to get some more from that one. Night Raven pops Dragon Blade right afterwards, but he gets taken out by David Grace in no time. Santa Dream does go down anyways to extra Domino, cheeky res onto Santa Dream, and he manages to land it. The point is moving, and Braven taking a very interesting position over there, and trying to just keep the fight going for them.
Yeah, but this looks like this might just be the end of Swedish Dom. Yeah, definitely. The only one left is Pelophin. If he could even touch the point right now. And
yeah, Night Raven getting there, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it here, especially with Unknown with the Dragon Blade. And that is a very commanding first point to Watchpoint Gibraltar.
Yeah, definitely. Just getting past the car washes is not ideal, but still, it's not impossible to hold. I've seen crazier holds than that.
Yeah, I feel like on Swedish Domination's side, they're gonna have to. It's not far at all. It's gonna be a tough one, but I do not feel like it's out of reach. I have a feeling that they can push this map a little bit further and try deal with what is coming in from Persia Esports, because their offense is gonna be quite powerful.
Oh yeah, just if last round was any indication, Persia is gonna come out swinging. They have such a short distance, and their dive is so coordinated. They get the kills very quickly, and their target selection is so good. They always jump to the next person right away, and that's gonna be a big problem for Swedish Dom. If they're gonna run, it looks like they're actually thinking of running a bulkier composition here with Hog Orisa, the Mei, the Brigitte, which is good because that'll give them a little more time to react to the dive, especially with all the CC they have. They might be able to disrupt it, but they gotta watch out for things like Santa Dream. Actually, no, never mind. He's swapping off the Ana, so anti-nade they have to work.
Yeah, I think that this is quite a nice one for defense. I'm just worried about the amounts of healing output they're going to have, especially if we see Persia take a dive-centric composition here.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on Ninas here, and for also their Brigitte player. He's really got to keep swinging, has to get the inspiration going constantly to make up for the lack of a more healer, and definitely should make use of the shield badge. But still, characters like Mei and Roadhog can heal themselves, so that is a little less pressure off.
That's a very good point, and not one I actually noticed right away. But coming out of the gates, Persia Esports, Santa Dream switching back to the Ana. That body grenade is going to do some work.
Yeah, they definitely need to either dodge that or just make a they need to basically back off as soon as they get hit by it.
Santa Dream taking a very interesting position up there, trying to, just as we spoke about with body grenade, but not quite able to find it. And no picks just yet. We're going to see something come very soon. Okay, jumping up to the top, David Great looking for something. Night Raven takes a lot of damage, he does go down. They're coming back here, Wall comes up, but Unknown gets a pick as well. This is looking very tough for Swedish Domination right now, especially with Unknown just in the background, just dealing with Ninas and Elephant non-stop. Raven gets Ninas though, and there's Pulse Bomb, but Elephant's Ice Block holds it back a little bit, but I feel like this is already won for Persia Esports.
Yeah, it just might be. Swedish Domination can't seem to, break this bad habit of getting split up the way they do. They always start off fine with their pushes and the team fights that they take, but then they immediately fall apart and they start tunnel visioning and they all focus on different people.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point over there. You can see the David and Goliath dynamic that that was being spoke about before the match even started, definitely playing a role here. Persia Esports looking extremely confident in going into this, currently sitting at 2-0 now versus Swedish Domination, and Swedish Domination are going to have to take a bit of a breather and really work out exactly what they need to sort out for this.
Yeah, absolutely. Now they do have a bit of a break. Hopefully that will be what they need to actually, figure something out, and hopefully at least put themselves on the board here, get a map win.
Yeah, and I imagine that, as you said, with their target selection as such, um, needing the target selection to be worked a bit better, they probably need to also work on their synergy a little bit as they go. So it's quite a tough one for them to bring it together against someone like this. But I must say, very impressive 2 matches there. Gonna hand it back to the desk though. Sabriel, take it away.
Sabriel and the Analysts, back to you right here. And so wow, we had some amazing play from Persia Esports here. They seem to be a very dominating force. Lofty, what's your first thoughts here? But kind of thinking back to map 1 over here on Lijiang, like what do you see out of this team?
Well, you know what? I have to say I'm pretty impressed with how hard Swedish Domination came out swing out of the gate. They showed up against the Persian Esports dive, kind of caught them off guard. I see what Persian Esports was trying to do. They played it a bit passively. They wanted to see if they can sort of break up the composition of it, but they held it close enough together that they were able to just roll the momentum through. And I really want to give credit to Ninus there for getting, I think it was a total of like 4 to 6 environmental kills that even those first 2 or 3 fights. His Lucio play was absolutely phenomenal, notifying those weaknesses in their positioning and taking the utmost advantage of it. But unfortunately, after a very, very smart switch over to the Hanzo Pharah, which is a known sort of playstyle you would use against the GOAT's composition, they just couldn't find the right way to sort of rotate their attention. Swedish Domination, that is, with all the angles that they can possibly take against them with the Pharah, the Hanzo, and the Winston itself, it just made it very, very hard to stay in formation.
Plausible. Like we've seen Swedish Domination having difficulties, but what's something they're doing right?
I swear I hit the unmute button, but apparently I didn't. Anyways, when the Swedish Domination bring out this Ghost composition and they stay together, they really look like a different team than when they tried to dive on Gibraltar, right? They have better usage of their ultimates, they have better control of space, but you can really see the chinks in the armor start to form in comparison to the high level play being brought out by Persia. Even when the GOATs came out from Swedish Domination, it just was even their better level of play wasn't a match for Persia Esports level, right? You see such amazing space control coming out from David Great. This guy is crazy on the main tank, both Reinhardt and Winston. He opens up that second stage on Control Tower with a beautiful charge onto the Brigida. And not only does it take out a key hero, but he manages to go past the entire enemy team back toward the point and where his healer has rotated around to. So he not only averts all of the potential damage that is that risk from a charge, but he makes something of it. And he does this time and time again on both maps.
Absolutely. David Gray, it's just, I don't know, his positioning is just always the awareness and know-how, where you need to be, how you need to do it is incredible. Now, something we talked about before this matchup was seeing how open division teams will pull kind of strategies and ideas from the contenders area. Now, this is an EU version, but however, someone here, Lofty, noticed something, I believe, or Plausible noticed that Korean region had a little strat borrowed from them.
Yeah, so Swedish Domination, I appreciate the little nod they gave to the Korean region. We see a lot of use of McCree, actually, especially on control point maps where the Koreans like to sort of add that level of utility, that level of control, and that level of 1v1 to their team composition. And the McCree Junkrat, I believe, is a composition I only recall, I might be wrong, but I only recall seeing it essentially in the Korean region. And it's awesome, and it's a huge nod to the Korean region that I really, really appreciate. But they need to play those long sidelines. In order to play that against the GOAT's composition, they need to maximize the damage of the Junkrat and the McCree by always taking those long-range fight opportunities against them. And they just weren't doing that as effectively. And so Persian Esports was able to walk up to them and take the fight to them and take minimal damage from both sources.
Real quick, on to Gibraltar Plausible. Like, what was something that Swedish Domination might have been able to do better to kind of take some space that they couldn't get?
I'm not I wasn't convinced by their composition coming out of the gate on their offense. They bring a Moira, and then every other hero on the team is high mobility hero focused on taking the high ground, and they can't make use of that because one of their main healers is stuck on the low ground. Moira doesn't have a way to get up there except the stairwell, which was almost always guarded. So I think they need to focus more on getting these solid synergies when they're not on that GOATS composition.
Right, like Moira, basically all you can do is lob a heal ball and hope.
Exactly, and then it flies past anyways, right?
Right, right. So, something we saw, we saw the amazing mobility of Persia Esports. Is there anything you want to add to that, Lofty, or just kind of what were they doing so well here?
Well, actually, one of the things that notably by Persian Esports is the rotation between the high ground they were holding above the tunnel and the blue box. Every time Swedish Domination was able to get a dive off in any sort of fashion, they were showing off their knowledge of how they like to play the defense, and they effectively rotated, especially their Widowmaker, safely between blue box and the high ground. It made for advantages to be taken off the enemy cooldowns and just allowed Braven to do his thing. I think he only died once on that entire defense, maybe twice, and that was to Doomfist. And so their knowledge of rotating the defense and protecting their Widowmaker is the key to having Braven do so well that map and just pressure Swedish Domination into submission.
Well, for sure, there's nothing scarier than a Widowmaker who has a complete control of the map. You can do nothing about her. So, one of the things we've seen both teams today kind of struggle with, or we've seen teams twice today here in Gibraltar have difficulty with the car wash possible. Like, what is it about this space that can make or break a team?
Well, I think where Swedish Domination struggled is they were actually focused too much on the payload. They went up to the high ground on their defense, but they didn't drop down. Whereas on the offense, they didn't go up to the high ground much, and they just stayed on the payload, and Persia rotated all day and kept it contested the whole time.
So yeah, with Persia's mobility, they were just here, left, right. No matter where you look, there was Persia Esports coming at you.
Oh, absolutely. And I again applaud them for their effective use of rotation along that defense. It really kept the Swedish Domination team on their toes and kept them falling, actually.
Yeah, and I think our teams are getting ready. We are going to be heading over to Horizon Lunar Colony. Plausible, any last thoughts before we toss it over?
This is a smart pick coming out from Swedish Domination. They've shown much more prowess on the GOATS composition, and that's much better on this map than it would have been Anubis.
Lofty, last thoughts?
If it's the David and Goliath narrative, David needs to bring much more than a slingshot to be able to take this guy down.
All right, with that, I'm going to toss it over to Beatdown and Cloudburst. Cloudburst, take it away.
Thank you so much, Saberality, and thank you so much to the analysts, really breaking it down for us here. Coming onto Horizon Lunar Colony, is this more than a slingshot for Swedish Domination Beatdown?
So sorry, the mute bug is going around. But to answer your question, I think this could very well be good for Swedish Domination. As the desk said, it's definitely a map they would want to play. It does favor what seems to be their most comfortable composition very well. So yeah, I think this could be their slingshot.
Well, let's hope it's more than just that. Coming in from Lofty saying that might not be enough from the showing we've seen of Persia Esports today. But what would you say, talking about the composition that favors them, what can you tell us about that? Let's break it down for our viewers in these 35 seconds or so we have.
Sure. And actually, it's very interesting because of the changes they made to Horizon Lunar Colony recently. The fact that you can get up to the high ground that we see Persia Esports on right now much easier, even with less mobile characters. It stands to reason that you could definitely run the tank heavy composition, rotate around the stairs, and force them off. But even then, it would work if you were to just run onto the point and force them to be there, because they're capturing the point. You have to prevent that as the defending team.
Yeah, you have to answer that. You can't just leave it behind at all. And over here, on the offense, Extra opting to go for the Doomfist, and compared to Pelephant, who was on it before, who's now taking the Hanzo. That could be a strong pick for this one.
Yeah, definitely not the comp originally expected, but this could still do some pretty good work here. He definitely does need to move with his team though, and make use of the space that the tanks are making right now.
Now that was a bit of a shaky dive there. We saw Pelifant try and launch up there, but not quite in time with his tanks. Hopefully they can bring it back with Pelifant in the backline looking for something. But Unknown picks up extra, and that's a dangerous one for them.
Definitely, now that Pelifant's out there, nobody knows that he's there. I think he's better off just not doing anything. Yeah, and he's just floating around in space, waiting for his team to respawn. And it looks like we're not going to see many swaps from Swedish Domination. However, yeah, I think hopefully he'll communicate with this team when they're actually going to dive.
Yeah, I really hope they can bring this one together, but he is noticed at the back there. The doors did open and Santa Dream did see him, so they're aware of it, but Unknown comes with the Dragon Strike into the room. They're not picking up anyone, not actually hitting their health pools too much, and all of them going outside. I love this innovation of approach here coming through. Hopefully they can work with it the way they need to.
Yeah, it actually looks like Persia doesn't want to go out there and face them. They just want to wait. They know the time bank is turning. Oh, but actually there's a Riptire coming from Braven.
Oh, and it picks up 2 as well! Make that the mech is... mech in the bag is... Well, Elephant takes out Braven though, and it's not enough. Persia Esports still looking like the actual one pushing out the domination onto Sweden.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, I think Swedish Domination should just go back to the drawing board now. They might need to make a swap, because now's the time. We're just about at the 2-minute mark, so that means they have enough time to actually build some ultimates, but it looks like it doesn't matter. They're sticking with this to the end, and if that's the case, they do have a good shot here because they have the Dragon Strike, and there's no response for it technically from Persia Esports.
Yeah, I do like the approach that they're going with here. Coalescence coming out. David Great getting a very early pick though. Hopefully they can keep things together. Oh, but the dragon again! That dragon is ready every single fight. And Santa Dream's the one picking it up with Coalescence. Moira DPS? Yes, please.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want out of your Hanzo. It's so good for Persia Esports that he either gets kills with them or just separates them, allowing Persia Esports themselves to just collapse onto whoever is separated and just immediately get the kills.
Yeah, you would not expect that the anti-dive team is the one collapsing on top of the assaulters. Hopefully, Swedish Domination can do something to bring this one back.
Yeah, definitely not outside the norm here. They're actually, Swedish Domination is, as soon as I say not outside the norm, they're running to double main tank composition here. Not sure exactly what they're trying to go for, but they could throw their Winston in there with the ultimate, provided nobody gets killed. And
oh my word, Bunny with a very far north self-destruct that actually picks up Elephant, and that uses up the res. Here we come, Attire. Can this find anything? Very silent out here in space. It's looking for something, and it does manage to get Night Raven. That holds them back quite a bit as well. Only 30 seconds left on the clock.
yeah, but honestly, it's now or never for Swedish Domination. Unknown has the Dragon Strike, but that's all there really is on Persia Esports. Swedish Domination has 3 ults. Soon to be 4, because Linus is about to come onto the Valkyrie. They really gotta go big in this one. Take no time, get as aggressive as you can, because 10 seconds, like, it doesn't even look like someone can touch in time.
Yeah, especially with Pelifant going down to a headshot from Unknown. Herdhog needs to come through with the Primal Rage and get onto that point. Here he goes for it. 2 seconds left, 1 second. We have a contest. And now they're on the point. Do see the Reinhardt also doing quite a bit there from Zekipper, but he's taking so much damage. Braven gets taken down from Extra, and Bunny and Unknown are just on this point non-stop. We can't see Extra standing here for much longer, and he's just trying to keep the dream alive for them. Going down though.
Yeah, it looks like it just wasn't enough. There's actually no chance now for Swedish Domination to win this map. The best they can do is full hold, tick, and hope for a tie.
Yeah, I mean, bringing in the tie is the best situation they have here. I mean, we're gonna have to see how they can pull that together, or if Persia Esports is actually gonna be able to take this one 3-0.
I'll be honest, it's not looking too good right now for Swedish Domination. However, yeah, the end definitely isn't near. I think they still have a chance here. They just need to prioritize better. In the last round, Unknown on the Hanzo was completely, uncontested. They left him alone with most of their dives, despite the dive having the mobility to get rid of him. If they got rid of that Hanzo, so much damage done for the enemy team.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that. The bit of focus over on the star players on Persia would make a world of a difference to their approach here. But on the defense here, just thinking about what's on the line, what do you think is going on through the mentality of Swedish domination right now, and what do you think they need to do to bring it together?
Oh, I think if you're them, you are sweating. Because, yeah, this is it. All they have to do is capture a tick. The odds are really against you. But still, I think I actually like the composition that they're running here, except for the Zarya. Never been known to synergize very well with Orisa, but who knows, they could make it work. Pelican on the Reaper is great, especially because Raven is running the Doomfist. It's a good way that if he does not get one shot, he can actually burst Raven down. However, the only dangerous thing about this is that if Persia Esports decides to go with the Pharah, there's little to no response on Swedish domination.
Yeah, that's a very good point there, and I have a feeling that with what we've seen from Persia, they've had quite a lot of flexibility. They could easily swap over to that once they see the composition over on Swedish domination side.
Yeah, it is very likely, and if that is the case, it's going to be on extra to make the difference here.
Yeah, ooh, I like this from Pelican holding back, but he does get sighted from Braven. He needs to jump in there and take something down very soon. No picks yet for Swedish domination. A nice dive from David Great over onto the point, allowing for Unknown to take out Ninus, although he does go down in the crackback there, but this is looking great for Persia Esports. Also getting another res there. It could be their fight already in absolutely no time. They're going to be getting it, and there you have it! 3-0 for Persia Esports.
Yeah, dominating showing here from a good try from Swedish domination, but unfortunately it just was not enough.
Yeah, I feel like being on the back foot like that, the amount that's on the line makes it very difficult to perform, and we could see that here, but overall a good running. We saw a few signs of greatness coming in from Swedish domination.
Yeah, that's definitely the case here, but still, it's gonna go to Persia Esports, who played very well. Honestly, congratulations to them.
Yeah, I think well deserved. I'm going to be very excited to see what the winners of the Iran National Cup, to see what they can do going further in open division from this match now.
Yeah, they definitely look like a team you want to keep your eye on going forward.
Yeah, I think one of the things to look at here is a 3-0 must feel really, really good for Persia Esports going forward as well, and I'd like to discuss them going forward a little bit here. But I'm a bit scared about what they can bring into the mix once they fight another team that really holds them back and does exactly what we've seen here, what Persia Esports did to Swedish domination. Are they going to be able to overcome that?
I believe they definitely could. They've made very competent compositional swaps throughout this series alone, and they seem to be very competent in running very different styles of play. So that's going to be very good for them. And, you know, that's kind of how the meta is in Overwatch these days. It's very map dependent. It's very situational. So you need to be flexible. And it seems that so far, Persia Esports can handle themselves.
And that is a great one to hear there. And hopefully we can see more of them coming up soon. I hope they do well. But that's for us. And thank you so much for catching us. Moving over to Sabriel. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Cloudburst. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And wow, I have just one thing to start with here, and that is in space, no one can hear you. Fire in the hole! Also, but we saw an interesting battle take place here. Anything you want to talk about?
So I gave Swedish Domination some credit on their map pick, right? Because where they had shown us signs of greatness today was on that first map, Lijiang Tower, when they went goats. Horizon is better for goats and tank heavy compositions than Temple is, and then they ran a weird composition that didn't have the synergy I was hoping to see. They had a Zen and a Moira. The Winston from Swedish Domination jumped straight into an anti-dive and had no healing, no space congestion. They also swept. I don't know if like it was caught, but they swapped around a few of their roles as well. Yeah. Extra, who was on main tank for the prior two maps, was playing DPS, and they swapped around. I think if anything, Swedish Domination, they were trying to have fun this map, and it looked like they did. Going out into space, fighting out there, getting ripped. Like it was a fun map to watch.
Yeah, I was trying to watch from my overlord view, and something you just kind of forget because no one goes out there is in space. There is no sound, very low. All you hear is very vague booms. And if you're actually trying that as a way not just to goof around, like that is a very scary place to be because you have no audio cues of what's going on. So hopefully that was just goofing around. Lofty, Persia Esports. What were they doing so right here that was just unbreakable?
Well, Persia Esports maintained the strength of their composition. Again, just like Possible said, it is a very anti-dive composition, and it relies on the sole focus of whoever comes into the Orisa composition and making sure that they don't break formation. They have to stay together, and no matter how much pressure that the dive puts on both sides or from multiple angles, they have to maintain their formation. Now, on Swedish Domination's part, I'm kind of surprised that they continue to keep diving into, as Possible said, the anti-dive composition that they ran with the Orisa. What I'd like to see them do, and what I see a lot of teams do, especially like in the Korean region when Orisa is run a lot on defense on this particular map, is that they actually send a tracer or they play goats and they rotate to point. That'll obviously force the Orisa shield cooldown, force them to move either onto point or to a position closer to point, and then they can take advantage of that rotation. So I didn't see Swedish Domination do that at all, not until the very, very end when it was already kind of too late, but I would like to see that more from them if they run into this problem again, kind of force the movement. If you can't play into it, get it to move.
Yeah,
and we did see that tracer play coming out from Persia on their offense.
Yes,
Unknown,
yes.
He went around that left side, all the way around up the stairwell, and dived in from another angle when his team entered into the fray. So hopefully, if you're Swedish Domination, you look back at the VOD, you look, what did we do right? What did Persia do more right? And you use this as a learning experience because this is it's honestly a top tier team that they've gone up against, and they should be happy with how they played.
Yeah, I think that Swedish Domination had hit this point that I recall a lot of Korean teams had difficulty with when this defensive meta was big. I think it was like Apex Season 3 or 4. Like teams were having a little struggle trying to figure out how to break this high-end defense, and just Swedish Domination was just kind of in that spot too. And hopefully maybe they'll learn something from this and do things like you said, and just run around the outside, bring them to you, because you can't dive into that at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those situations where like Possible said, they are up against a top tier team, and they can take this as a learning experience because honestly they showed up well. I was pretty impressed, especially in map 1 on Lijiang Tower. I wasn't expecting it to go the way that it did. It was of course it was a 2-0, but that doesn't tell the entire story. And so props to Swedish Domination for really bringing the heat, especially on Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, I like an underdog story, so every time they got the point, I was silently cheering them on as hard as I could.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go to wrap things up. Possible, do you have any final thoughts for today?
I'd like to keep my eye on Persia. I want to watch them play a match where they're up against a team of a similar skill level. I hope that they show us the same control of the meta and control of space that they did today. David, great, amazing main tank player, and hopefully behind all that space he creates for them, Persia can keep this rolling all the way through playoffs.
Yes, it'll be exciting to see. I hope we get to see something like this. And Lofty, throw it to you. Any final thoughts for us today?
Oh, I need to. I don't know who's organizing these, but I need to be put in the game where it's money versus the Iranian Persian esports. I really want to see that. I want to see how they match up with each other, and I want to see, how when two top tier teams, the champions of Iran versus the contenders level, gods clash, and I want to see the storm that happens at that point.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen. It's been a joy. It's been a pleasure. It's been fun. And you at home, if you want more Overwatch esports action, make sure you tune in this afternoon or in a few hours from now for when we will show some North American games. And I think we only have one going on today. And if you at home think like, hey, I want to be an analyst, I want to be a caster, I could even produce, I want to do that, head on over to Broadcast.gg. We have a massive wealth of resources there you can read up on, listen to, watch. And we also have a Discord where we have all of us there. We have many other people, many other resources here to talk to you about what you want to do in esports. Esports isn't always about being the player in front of the screen. It's also a lot of work behind the scenes. So thank you to Lofty. Thank you to Plausible. I will get that right eventually.
It's tricky.
It is.
And thank you, Beatdown, and thank you, Cloudburst, for casting today, and thank you, Mushu, for producing, and thank you for watching. Oh, and I am Sabriel. Thank you.